Welcome to Let Freedom Ring. Before we get into anything, just want to say this show is dedicated to the memory of Bray Wyatt. Wyndham Rotunda passed away last week. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, one of the most interesting characters in the history of World Wrestling Entertainment. Very sad for him to pass away at 36. So this one's for Bray. But my guest this week from the New England Free Jacks, Thomas Grant. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, mate. Thanks. Yeah. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, really excited to have you on. Been a fan of you for a little while. With you know, you're the on-field guy for the Free Jacks, so that's super cool. But let's get to know you a little bit. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so I'm from a little humble town down the bottom of New Zealand called Dunedin. Probably most well known for the Highlanders and Otago. Those are our two teams. It's a pretty stock standard New Zealand town. Lots of beaches, nice people, nice wildlife, mountains surrounding it. So it was a really cool place to grow up. And lots of land to run around on as a New Zealand kid. That's what every kid dreams of, is just having a rugby ball running around on the land. So, yeah. Absolutely.
And I want to ask this, because we are getting into rugby. Was there any other sports you were involved with growing up?
Yeah, I was a cricket diehard, which is just starting to pick up a little bit of traction here in America, which is good to see. But cricket and rugby have sort of been my two sports. I ran a little bit of track terribly in high school. And yeah, to be honest, I loved any sport really. Get into a little bit of soccer or football, as we call it back home. So yeah, bit of everything.
Awesome. Yeah, cricket, definitely there is a cricket community around here.
Yeah.
Sometimes I play a lot of softball, and sometimes they'll be playing cricket before we use the field. So big community.
That's great. Yeah, it's I saw Major League Cricket just obviously launched recently, and it was pretty successful, selling out most of the games. So it's awesome. It's a great game. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a former guest on the show from England talk about it, and I mean, sometimes these games can go on for like days, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the Test match formats can be up to 5 days. That's why the T20 format, which is 3-hour games, are typically more appealing to a newer audience. So, but yeah, there's some. If you love your cricket, you can spend a whole week watching it. That's for sure.
That's awesome. Now, what are 3 things that everybody should know about you?
Yep. Well, probably one of them that I've sort of still drilling into Americans over here is that I'm from New Zealand, not Australia. I think anywhere I go in Boston is, whether it be like Dunkin' Donuts, that you always get there, you're from Australia, but you got to quickly educate them that we're arch rivals. So probably that. Another one, I've had a nickname since I was 5, which is Wheels.
Okay.
Not due to athletic ability, that's for sure, but it's sort of stuck since under 5s tackle rugby, and pretty much everyone but my parents or future girlfriend to be call me Wheels. So it's kind of funny, but it's just stuck. Number 3, hopeless cook. Terrible cook. So yeah, not heavily backed in the kitchen. I've got my signature meals that I like to do, but I'd probably say not great in the kitchen, but I'm open to learning.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'll just put salt and pepper on chicken and put it in the oven.
Yeah, exactly. That's good enough for me. Yeah.
At the end of the day, same job, right?
No, exactly.
It gets it done.
It goes in one hole. That's good.
I gotta ask, so have you noticed, obviously when you came over and got to New England, did you think everybody had the Boston accent?
I could definitely notice the difference, I think, between the Boston accent and I guess where else we get to travel, like Texas, and the difference between those accents. But just the way the Boston people say park your car or smart, and I can see there's those catchphrases around New England like wicked smart and all that. Yeah, definitely notice the people with a strong Boston accent. Our physio, Mike Buonapane's got a classic Boston accent to a T, and it even comes out more when he's had a few New England IPAs. So, I could definitely notice.
Yeah, because anytime I go anywhere else in the country, people are almost shocked. I'm from New Hampshire, but a lot of times when I say I'm from New Hampshire, in other parts of the country, they're like, well, where? It's like they almost don't know where New Hampshire is, which it's one of the original colonies. But I just say near Boston, well, you don't have an accent.
Yeah.
They just assume we do.
No, exactly. I'm lucky I get away with not having one, but it's always been a a fear of mine that I'm going to pick one up
Yeah.
while I'm over here. So I don't know, I'll count my blessings.
Now, generally, at this part of the show, I usually ask guests, what does it mean to be an American? Do you think, and how long have you been over here?
I've been here a year and a half now, so yeah, going on 18 months.
Okay, so that might be a tough question to answer early on, but what does it mean to you to be from New Zealand?
Yeah, it means a heck of a lot, actually. Like, New Zealand, it's typically a small country that punches, well above its weight. Not necessarily in rugby with the All Blacks, a number of other sports as well. I think we're just a really go and get after it country, and I think no task is too small. It's sort of the mentality that we have. I know that our Prime Minister in the past has come to news over here for what we did during COVID and have those real strict lockdowns and things like that. So yeah, I think we're typically a punch above our weight country, and I think that's probably how I see myself. Like, I'm a young person in the sports industry, so it means a heck of a lot to come from New Zealand. It's such a proud country. Not only when you see the All Blacks play and the pride with the haka and things like that, but yeah, I think just how we punch above our weights, how I try to carry myself as well. So
I gotta ask, is there anybody in New Zealand that doesn't root for the All Blacks?
There's probably a few, but not many. I think you'd be lucky to walk down the street in New Zealand and find someone that doesn't. It's very, very passionate bunch. Like, when the All Blacks are losing, it's headline newspaper, All Blacks this, All Blacks that. But again, I guess it's just the thing that's made New Zealand known for what it is. The silver fern's just such a symbol of New Zealand now. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. Now, you've been in the United States for a year, you said. What are the major differences that you notice day to day?
Gee, what aren't? There's been a lot. It's been definitely an eye-opener. I'd say driving's probably been a big one.
Okay.
Again, obviously in New Zealand we drive on the other side of the road, but I'd say the pure aggression of American drivers. If I'm at a red light and it goes green for a split second, I'm getting honked at aggressively for 2 minutes. So I think probably the driving, roads over here are busy. It took me an hour and 40 to get to Merrimack today. In Dunedin, where I'm from, it's 15 minutes to get around, so probably that. The lifestyle's definitely different. The tipping culture over here, whenever you go out to restaurants, you've got to tip people. We don't really have that back home.
Oh, really?
Not a massive tipping culture. Medical's a whole nother one. Insurance, we're going to leave that for another show. That's something I'm battling with now. But yeah, I'd say probably just the lifestyle. It's just always go here. I live up in Dorchester, Quincy, and just I'm right on one of the highways, and it's so busy all the time. It's a bit like you hear of New York, the city that never sleeps. I reckon it's just everywhere in America never sleeps. It's just so busy and fast paced, which I love. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right in the heart of that, because in the Quincy area, even when I cross, if I never had to go to Massachusetts, I never would.
Yeah.
But if I want to see the Free Jacks play and other things like that, I got to go in, because New Hampshire, it's not as crazy as that. There's times where every time I'm going to a Free Jacks game, I'm I see Boston coming up, I'm oh, I bet I'm going to hit traffic.
Oh, yeah. It's hectic. It definitely tests your patience, but it just puts emphasis on Google Maps, so you got to make sure you plan out your days. That's why I was worried getting here in time tonight. But but to be honest, the differences have been awesome. Coming from a pretty, I'd say, cruisy lifestyle back home where everything's a little bit mellow, it's definitely taught me a lot of good life skills over here, and how to adapt to living with new people and different cultures, different language. And in turn, it's probably difficult for American people to understand me at times and how New Zealand people operate. So it's been good.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah. Now, I want to get into this a little bit. How, we talked about you played cricket, but you were very obviously involved in rugby.
Yeah.
How'd you get involved playing?
Yeah, so played since I was 5. The first sport I actually played was soccer. I played that for a year, and I was 5 years old. I probably didn't even understand the concept of sport at that age. But I think most of my friends at school were playing rugby, so I joined the local club in Dunedin, Pirates Rugby Club, and started to play there through the flag through tackle grades, and just immediately fell in love with it. Those are some of my best memories. Down at St Clair, which is a beachy area in Dunedin, just running around on the sand dunes with my mates, and having having some hot chips and a pie after the game on a cold Saturday morning. That's how I got into it, and then right through high school I played. I stopped about 2 years into high school and decided to pick up the whistle instead and try refereeing. So I did that and thoroughly enjoyed it. I refereed and still do when I can for the past 7 or 8 years. And just, really enjoyed that side of it, and that sort of sparked an interest for me in more the management and operations side of sport. So went down that path with Otago Rugby, and now I'm with the Free Jacks. So
nice.
Yeah, so it's been awesome.
So what levels do you ref at?
So back in New Zealand, I'd be doing Colts, which is like U23. I was still in high school, so I was doing like Colts, probably U23, and then touch judging, assistant referee for like some Prem games and things like that. While I've been here in America, I've done a few of the college games, which is great.
Okay.
So I don't know, I've done like Harvard versus AIC is one of my games that I did last year. So yeah, it's awesome, and it's a great way just to get out and see different parts for me in New England and connect with the rugby community as well.
Now, how is reffing? Do you get a lot of arguing? I mean, it doesn't matter what sport. I feel like people love to blame the officials. For
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's good. In school, I was a bit of a little craphead at school. Wasn't the most well behaved. Probably let my mouth do a bit of damage as I still do at times. But honestly, refereeing's taught me some of the best life skills. Just to learn how to communicate with people properly, deal with a little bit of adversity, which you definitely get on the field. You've got sometimes 30 different voices coming at you, not just the captain, but it teaches you patience and learning to not really let the heated moments get the better of you. So I've really enjoyed refereeing. I think anyone that's thinking about hanging up the boots from a playing capacity, I'd highly recommend just giving refereeing a crack for a season and just seeing if you enjoy it. And for me, I absolutely loved it, and it's even a bonus over here in America that you can get a bit of pocket money on the side for refereeing, which back home in New Zealand you can't. So it's good. Lots of incentives.
Nice. Now, you work for the league too, not directly for the league, but for the Free Jacks. There's a lot of criticism of MLR referees.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's any league. Do you think a lot of the criticism's fair, or do you think it's just kind of that's how fans are?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, a lot of it's education, right? Again, the MLR's only been around for a short amount of time, so we're not going to probably have the most talented pool of rugby referees just yet because they haven't been exposed to professional rugby for so long. So I think it's just, I don't think some of the criticism's extremely fair. Again, the league's still in the growing stages. Our referees are still getting educated and developed properly, and I see on a day-to-day basis the different things that USA Rugby and MLR are now trying to do to upskill our referees. But then again, right, if you're a New England sports fan and you're at Fort Quincy and the referee's not quite seeing eye to eye with the game, then the fans are going to let them know about it. And I think that's just Boston people's DNA, right? When we play New York, there's all sorts of things being shouted out, but that's just a part of the spectacle. And referees, typically it goes in one ear and out the other, right?
You just got to you're there to do a job.
Yeah, there to do a job. I love it. I love it. I love the banter side of it. I love hearing all that slack from the crowd and a bit of banter from the players. That's what I love about it.
Where do they get the MLR referees? Are they from other countries? Are they from the area, or? Yeah,
there is. I know, for instance, this year there was a few that came over from New Zealand. So they typically try and draw a few from the NPC competition in New Zealand, a couple from the English Premiership. But I think this year we've seen some good referees come through. I know Amelia Luciano is one of the local women's referees who does the ARP. She runs flag for the Free Jacks and she's coming through the ranks. So I know that there's definitely talent coming through, and they've got the ARP at the end of the year where the referees participate in that, and there's lots of high quality sevens tournaments like Rugby Town. So I think they draw from those pools mainly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, I want to ask this, what made you fall in love with the game? You knew, this is just for me.
Yeah. I think it was, particularly at a young age, being around your mates, and that's still the cause to this day, you can go out on the field and beat each other up for 80 minutes, but that you can then go back into the club rooms after and have a beer and, just share some good memories and times of the game and just life in general, right? I think that's probably one thing over here in America that I miss from back home is like the true rugby club rooms. Like no matter where you play in New Zealand, there'll always be an aftermatch in a rugby club room where you can go back into after the game, share some beers with the opposition, have some food, and talk about who the All Blacks are playing tonight.
Yeah.
But I think over here in America we don't quite have those club rooms quite established yet. We can go to a bar, but it's not quite the same. So I think that's, to be honest, why I fell in love with it. It was just like it was a place to get away from home, get away from life, and just have some drinks with your mates. And at a young age, even when you're not drinking, you're still around your mates and just doing what you love and having fun.
Yeah, I mean, drink ups are always such a big part of it.
Yeah.
I remember that in college, like you have the game and then it can be it could be a fight, and then after it's like, hey, you really hit me hard today,
And even if, like, to be honest, even if you don't drink, I probably shouldn't associate alcohol with it too much, but I mean, like, rugby's such a welcoming sport, right, for everyone, for all ages, genders, walks of life. That's probably the thing I love about it the most. It's generally one of the most welcoming sports in the world, and there's options for everyone to play it, right? Flag rugby, we've got wheelchair rugby leagues around the world. Like, there's just so many different variations of the game. It's beautiful.
Now, what are some of your favorite moments playing the game that you've had?
Yeah, good. I think it probably at high school was great. Again, I was never like a top class player by any means. Probably just playing at high school, like, again, when you're aged 15 and you slug it out 5 days a week at school, and then you get to go on Saturday morning and play rugby with your mates in the freezing cold. Those are probably some of my most favourite memories. You're playing against your rival schools in the region. Then when I left school, I joined up to Southern Rugby Club. I was, first year out of school, university student, lots of energy. Joined up there, and that was probably like the best 2 years of my life. That's when I fully got exposed to like the club room scene and getting to go out and party with your mates down in Studentville and in downtown. Probably that, right? Yeah, probably that.
Nice. Now, how do you end up with the Free Jacks? Like, because obviously you're not from Quincy or anything like that. So how does that happen?
Yeah, it's quite a cool story. So when I was in high school, our first 15 coach there, Ryan Martin, who I'm sure will ring a bell for Free Jacks fans, he coached the Free Jacks in 2021. That was the Free Jacks' first full season post-COVID, where they got to get all the MLR games in. And I became quite close with Rhino at school. He was my maths teacher. He was my PE teacher as well. So I probably in my last 2 years of school became really interested, as I said earlier, in like the operations side of sport, being a team manager or an analyst, just trying to explore different avenues there. And Ryan got the assistant coach job at Otago Rugby, which is in the national competition back home. He invited me along to an Otago training one time to film some drills on the iPad, and from there I met a bunch of people at Otago Rugby. I was super keen to learn. I just put my hand up at a bunch of opportunities to go and volunteer at different things, and that started a 3-year pretty much internship or volunteer relationship with them. I got to be assistant manager for the Otago team and travel to some away games, and it was just such a whirlwind for like an 18-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid. And then in my last 2 years there I got offered a job in community rugby, similar to what I'm doing now. Ryan got the head coach job at the Free Jacks, and linked in with Tom Kindly, the general manager, who was actually my housemaster at boarding school.
Oh, okay.
So TK was actually tucking me into bed as a little 15-year-old.
Yeah.
And Rhino obviously put in a good word with Tom, and Tom reached out to me about the opportunity to come over to New England the end of 2021, in like a internship management capacity, and now I'm here. A year and a half later, still figuring it out.
That's awesome. I mean, it's interesting to me because a lot of times, like, and I know MLR is a growing league, but a lot of times you hear the history of like coaches and all these different roles in like the NFL, and you're always like, how did like Bill Belichick didn't play in the NFL.
No, yeah.
So you're always like, wait, because when I was a kid, I just assumed that's how you become a coach, like you play. And then,
Yeah.
But none of them were, you know.
No, genuinely, I think I remember hearing like a quote when I was little, like network is your net worth, like just making as many connections as possible. And to be honest, like I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for just making connections and like being keen and meeting people. So I think that's it. Like if you're super keen, particularly in the sports industry, like I think it's quite a hard thing to crack, especially if you want to be in like the rugby operations side of things, particularly back home in New Zealand. Like it's a highly competitive profession to be in, you know. So I think just putting your name out there as much as possible and getting stuck in as a volunteer, you know, good things pay off eventually.
Absolutely, yeah. I know there's a lot of young people that want to be involved, and yeah, like you said, I think it's a networking thing.
Exactly.
That helps.
Yeah.
So can you just go over what your roles are with the team right now?
Yep. There's probably many at the moment. Got a few different hats, which I love to be a part of. So I guess at the moment, primary focus is academy and community. So biggest one for that we really had success in this year was the community side of things. And again, community is such a broad term, right? So for me, primary focus this year is getting into as many schools as possible and exposing as many new kids to the game of rugby as possible. So I think we hit over 55 PE classes this year, like close to 6,000 kids that have been introduced to the game for the first time. So that was myself going along with a couple of Free Jacks players, delivering a PE class and hoping that the kids start to, plant the seed and generate a little bit of interest in what rugby is and what it's about. So that's sort of the community side of things, like trying to get into as many schools as possible, run a ton of youth clinics all around New England. I was in Keene, New Hampshire last Sunday, running an event there. That's basically it. Just as many youth clinics, as many learn to play opportunities, as many school visits as possible to try and grow the player base from the ground up, right? And then hopefully we see more youth clubs pop up all around New England, which is what we need. So that's the community side of things, which takes up a lot of my time, and I absolutely love it. Get out in the community in the Red Free Jacks van and meet some kids and some awesome people. And then the academy side of things, we've got our independents, our junior jacks, men, women, boys and girls. So those teams compete throughout the year. They go through a identification sort of process where we get them along and they participate in some combines and trials, and then we pick some squads from there that compete in different times of the year. So our independents typically play 4 to 6 games in a year. Women's independents, which we launched this year, went to Iowa and played in the USA All-Stars comp, which was great. And then our boys and girls, our girls just played Quebec a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Which was great. And then our boys participated in the MLR U18s tournament. So, the academy for me is all about providing as many opportunities for kids as possible to develop and grow. So whether that be sending a team to Canada to play a few games, then so be it. Like, I'm a big believer in order for our next crop of rising Free Jacks to get better, they've got to play, right? Like, you can train as much as possible. You know, we can go down and kick a ball at veterans for hours and do all the skills, but you're only actually going to put those skills to the test by playing. So, it's growing. It's growing. We're getting there slowly, but next year we've got some cool things in the works, some more opportunities for our academy teams, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I don't care what the sport is, if you don't go out there and do it, you're never going to learn it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you remember, because someone reached out to me when I promoted the show, Rob Howes.
Yes.
Are you familiar with Rob?
Yes, I went to his school. Yes.
Okay, he messed, because Rob was like, when I played at Plymouth State, Rob was like basically player coach.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot of rugby from Rob. But he reached out and said, he's
the British guy, right? Yeah. I went to his school. I'm trying to rack my brain as to what school that was, but we went and did a session there. And then I think from there, like from that session, he's looking at getting a youth program started in his area, which is like, that's the double thumbs up for us. Like, if we go along to a school that doesn't have rugby established in the area, like Quincy, where the Free Jacks are based, we don't have a youth program there yet. That's the dream, right? To have all of these youth hubs all over New England.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I mean, I actually was talking to Phil and Chris from Jack's Ranger show today, because there was a school in Massachusetts that doesn't have enough football players to play. And I don't know what's going on, but I think there's a chance for rugby to grow. I think it's going to grow anyways.
Yeah.
But I do think that if parents are nervous about their kids playing football, want a game like it, rugby is a safer game.
No, definitely, absolutely. And I think the key thing there is like, how do we get those kids into rugby? You know, obviously, there's a lot of high schools, just using Massachusetts as an example, that don't have established rugby programs, and those kids really only get to play sevens in the fall and when they go to the youth program. So, yeah, we've definitely got to find a way to get people like that, you know, to other high schools, or set up another few teams that play each other. I wish there was a golden answer right now, but it's certainly working on it.
It's a tough one. I mean, what's great about MLR too is that it doesn't even run, you know, just on the pro sports aspect, not like the youth, but it's not during the football season.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, maybe people could play football and rugby.
Which, no, exactly right. Like, and for us, I know, even though the Free Jacks has stopped now, like, there's a ton of stuff going on for us still. Like, we've got a full development program that kicks off in October. We're sending some teams to the New York Sevens end of November. Our collegiate all-stars go to Austin in January. So there's genuinely like year-round 365 days, 365 day opportunities for kids here at the Free Jacks, which is super cool.
Yeah, I think you guys are doing a fantastic job with that. And I see all the stuff on social media about it, and that's awesome. Because, I mean, honestly, when we were in college, we dreamed of something like that. I remember, you know, just getting rugby out there more, and the fact there's a pro league is like, in 2005 when I was playing, couldn't imagined.
No.
You know, that would be happening.
No, it's good. It's come in leaps and bounds, which is good to see. And I'm obviously, with the World Cup coming to America in not too long amount of time, I'm really intrigued to see the new initiatives that the MLR bring out over the next few years. I think launching the MLR U18s tournament this year was a great move. We hosted that in Quincy, you know, live on the Rugby Network for the kids. We played Florida, Houston, New York, and another team from Massachusetts, and like, it was just like the best week ever for those kids, you know, like playing with people that they'd never played with before against high level opposition. And I know our Junior Jacks boys learnt, you know, a ton of things from that tournament. And we beat New York on the final day, which helps. And after we'd had a, you know, relatively tournament didn't quite go the way we wanted to, but to beat New York on the final day is always good. Yeah.
We always like to beat New York around
exactly.
Here. Now, so that's like your main job, and this is how I kind of got introduced to you, is I've always been a fan of your on-field stuff.
Yeah.
How did you become like the on-field interviewer?
Yeah, to be honest, that's my passion. Like, I love being in front of a camera, probably like you do here on the show, and talking to people and talking sport. That's my dream, to be honest, to do that for a living one day. Basically back in New Zealand, just one day happened to come along that a cricket club down in Dunedin, the Otago Volts, needed someone to do some ground announcing, you know, the voice, the PA, as you call it in America, at the stadium. So I jumped at the opportunity as a 17-year-old kid, really, really enjoyed it. And from there, I was lucky enough to get more opportunities to do that for like New Zealand cricket, Otago Rugby, calling some games, and got heaps of opportunities to interview people when I was working at Otago Rugby, and then I guess when I came over here, the Free Jacks knew I sort of loved to do that. Yeah. And they've been great. They've sort of given me free rein, which is probably dangerous on their behalf, to just, you know, be myself in front of the camera and have a little bit of fun, which is just an added bonus to the work I'm already doing with them. And yeah, lucky enough this year got to do it for the league sideline, which has been a super cool experience to sort of be on a bit more you know, professional television, I guess you could say. And, you know, we have the weekly meetings about the narratives and the storylines we want to tell heading into the game. So it's super cool to learn all that stuff. But I just love it, mate. Like, whether it's commentating rugby or being on the sideline or chatting to you here now on Let Freedom Ring. Whenever there's an opportunity to talk a bit of sport and learn about people.
I honestly, and I got to give you do a fantastic job with that.
I appreciate it.
Who are some of your favorite players, like the best players to interview?
I saw this. I did see this question. I interviewed. I like the Canadian boys. Obviously, this year we've had a number of Canadian boys come into our environment, and I think the personality that they bring in front of the camera is just second to none, right? Like Andrew Quattrin, he's one I'd point out. Just he's brilliant. Like, you never know what he's going to say, which makes it half the fun. You never know what he'll come at you with. So yeah, really enjoy interviewing the likes of Andrew Quattrin. I was fortunate this year, interviewed Nate Ebner, which was pretty cool. Nate's got an amazing story from NFL to the Olympics to now, being a Free Jacks owner. So he was a really awesome person to interview. But yeah, probably someone just with a little bit of sense of humour, can get a bit of banter going back and forth. I think too much today in like general mainstream sports media, we see like the copy and paste questions. Like you almost know what they're going to answer before they actually answer, just based on the questions. So I enjoy just getting a bit loose, and hopefully it's rather entertaining for the fans at home. Something a bit different, like, what was your thoughts on that game, coach? It's just the basic stuff, just mix it up, something different.
Well, sports is supposed to be fun.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Exactly. So yeah, probably the Canadians, if I had to point them out, and the Free Jacks, I like them, they're good. Yeah.
Nice. Now, obviously, and we've done a few episodes on it, but it was a big deal. I have the shirt on here.
Yeah.
Free Jacks won the championship, and we've said, last year was gut-wrenching when they lost in the final, in the Eastern Conference final at home. So it was we wanted them to finish that story and win it. What was your reaction? Like, where are you during that game, and just kind of what's your reaction to them winning?
Yeah. Oh man, I'll try and recollect my very subtle thoughts. It was a big few days after that. I'll tell you, it was awesome. I was actually in goal. Brendan Buckley, our media guy, who does a fantastic job with all our videos and social media accounts, he gave me the GoPro for the game. So I was actually in the try line, getting up close with the GoPro, which was fun, just being close to the action. But the championship was just unreal. Like, again, as you said, like, to go from where we were last year against New York, and I guess taste that feeling of ultimate low, right? You lose to New York at home, it's gut-wrenching, super emotional, and then to really flip it around the next year and take out the whole thing is just the ultimate feeling, isn't it? Like, for me last year, like, I probably didn't quite get that full feeling because I'd just arrived in America. I didn't really know like the Boston-New York rivalry and how much it meant to people. But to see this year, us take the cake against San Diego in the final was just awesome. And like the smiles and emotion on the local boys' faces, like Kyle Sakira and Cam Davidovitz, how much it means to those guys, from being in the organisation since day one, our ownership, like, Mags, just the tears and emotion that all the owners showed, because this has been their baby, and I guess I'm just a small part of the journey. So it's great, and to be honest, like, it's still carrying on now, where we've taken the shield all around New England, and the shield's become such a symbol, for the community for us. We're in Keene, as I said, last week at a brewery. We took the shield along there, and there's people picking it up and getting photos of it, and their babies, kissing the shield, which I wouldn't recommend.
It's seen some days.
No doubt seen some days. But that's what it's all about, right? Like, it's we're off to Springfield next week, and looking forward to sharing the shield with the people there, and it's just an awesome way for us to connect with our wider community. So it's great. It's sort of bittersweet now. Like, that's the thing about sports. Like, we've won the championship, and I guess everyone goes back home, and it's sort of lonely in the office now. But we're gonna restart and put the engine into reverse and go again. Yep.
Awesome. And is there a chance? Like, I think Phil said Potras. His contract was just a 1 year?
Potrod's situation. I actually have no idea, to be honest. I think he may have originally been signed to a 1 year, but I stay well away. That's a Tom Kindly question.
Oh, okay.
he deals with all the contractual stuff.
Because man, and we've talked about it. Was just going into the season with Waka leaving.
Yeah.
And Jason coming in and didn't skip a beat.
Super awesome. I'd actually been following Jason, years ago, because he's been playing in the NPC, right? And one of those players that just couldn't quite crack it into Super Rugby. But what an asset for us. Like, obviously, Bodine had such a stellar season last year, and he's such a different style of player to what Jason brings on the field. Yeah. Like, Bodine has the ability to break the game open from anywhere. He's X factor in Bodine Walker, but Jason Potrow's a much more controlled, balanced game. His kicking game's exceptional. His goal kicking's second to none. And he just directed our team around the field sensationally all year, didn't he? I hope from that we get him back. I'd love to see him here. And I know he had his newborn and his partner over here in America, and they really enjoyed their time here. So let's hope the stars align.
Fingers crossed, because
certainly.
What a just a magical season, honestly. It really
That's great. I think it's the key. Like for us now that we've won the championship, like keeping consistency is super important, right? Like we want to go to the next level again next year, and I was talking to TK, like, we want to try and become the Crusaders of MLR, like, the Crusaders are sweet, they win a championship, they're on to the next 7, they're just bang, bang, bang. So just to have that mentality and keep getting better every single month, every day in our processes and things we do as a staff collectively, like, it's only going to do good, I think.
Well, I'm starting to notice that people, because obviously, like, I have my reach, and I know a lot of the people now that go to the Free Jacks and the people that know me, but now it's starting to get where, my brother's he does CrossFit. The guy at his gym. Yeah. My brother's wearing a Free Jacks hat. He goes, I go to all the games. Never met him. It's starting to, like, and that's and he lives in Londonderry. Yeah. It's starting to
pick up some
people are knowing who they are.
Oh, it's awesome. It's so good. Like, I remember I went to a Boston Celtics game, and there's just a random person in Free Jacks merch, and he actually ended up getting put on the Jumbotron, which was great for us. We snapped a pic at the Celtics game. But you're right, like, just walking down the streets in Quincy now, like, you look at the lampposts and there's banners, home of the Free Jacks, and people stop you in the street and say, congrats on the championship, when's the season start next year, and whenever you're getting a coffee, like, it's so awesome. I guess I only really get to see Quincy, because I'm living there, but just to see the Quincy community embrace us, and when we had that parade, like them lining the streets of Hancock, was just like, it was awesome, and you don't get that where I'm from in New Zealand anymore. Like, you'd be lucky to get under, I think, just over 1,000 people to an Otago game now, so to say, and that's just the reality of rugby in New Zealand at the moment. But over here, like, you turn up to Fort Quincy on a Saturday, you got, I think we had 4.5 there at one point this year, which was awesome, and there's a band after, and there's so much cool food options and things for kids to do. Like, it's just such an awesome place to be.
I've yet to bring somebody to a game, and I've brought people that don't know anything about rugby, and they're like, wow, I get why you want to go to this every time there's a home game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's credit to Mags, like, the amount of, obviously people get to see the final product, right, and the fans get to come along and enjoy it, but the amount of hours of work that goes on behind the scenes to actually, like, put that to fruition is just incredible. And I know next year, like, it'll excite the fans. There's bigger and better plans, right? We're not stopping.
And I've said it on Phil's show, like, you want to get invested in this team. This is where it's happening. Let me ask this real quick. Because I was at Gillette when you guys were on the field. Did you get to meet Bob Kraft?
I was standing probably a metre from him, and I didn't shake his hand. I would have loved to. Yeah. I hear he's got a lot of money. Yeah. Not necessarily because of that, but I mean, geez, if he's one owner or investor we can get into the Free Jacks, that'd be brilliant. But no, I didn't get to meet him. But Nate and Pat Chung, who are great guys, were chatting away to him. I was just eavesdropping a little bit to hear the convo, but yeah.
No, super cool. I mean, honestly, I do believe, like, winning in this area it happened, in my opinion, because of him. Yeah. It put the Red Sox on the clock, the Celtics, the Bruins, because the Patriots, Tom Brady had a lot to do with it. But I do think that Robert Kraft is probably the best owner that we've ever had around here. Opinion. But John Henry too, but
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I have pretty limited knowledge on his history, but I think when you arrive to New England, it's definitely one of the names that gets brought up often. So. Yeah, if Rob's out there, come along to a Free Jacks game.
We love that.
We'll get you in the VIP suite and some hot dogs. It'll be great.
I was going to ask, but you kind of already answered it. Is there anything else you think that we can do to grow the sport? I think what you guys are doing already is going to grow it. Obviously, the MLR, being a professional league in the country, is going to grow it. Anything else that you think that could do that?
Yeah, I think, like, there's no doubt, like, there's so many great volunteers out there in the community already. Like, community rugby and growing a game doesn't happen without like volunteers. And there's, if we look at all the youth programs, like I know New Hampshire's got some fantastic youth programs. If I use like, Mystic River or the Boston Irish Wolfhounds, for example, like, those are all people giving up their time to grow the game. And I think if there's anyone out there that's just got a slight interest in learning the game, like reach out to us, the Free Jacks, and if you want to get rugby started in your area, like we can help you, I can help you. We've got the resources and the equipment to help you get kick started. If Merrimack wants a youth program, we'll help you get it set up, because like that's what we need. We need as many kids playing rugby as possible, and it needs to be easy for the parents, right? Like, parents don't want to have to travel hours on end to drop their kids off all the time and pick them up. Like, to have these little hubs of rugby everywhere is what we need, and we need those awesome volunteers to drive it. So that's what I'd say. Just if there's anyone out there that's keen, reach out and
Oh, absolutely. No, that's good to know. I mean, you're right. Volunteer. I mean, anything at that level, you got to have the volunteers.
Oh, there. Exactly.
Yeah. And Phil has said this many times. I feel like I've never met anybody that's like, I watched the rugby game and I didn't like it. Like, once the eyes are on it, people get hooked.
I think it's like, you're right. People do get hooked. They're like, wow, what is this thing? There's people lifting guys up by the legs, and there's like as Americans are saying, there's like a spider thing on the ground. It's the scrum. So they're just so intrigued by the dynamics of the sport. I think what I found, like in America, parents are typically a wee bit scared of the no protection, no pads, just a mouth guard type of thing. So, I think it's really important to note that there is, they've got to go through years of, safety technique and learning how to tackle correctly and learn the basics of the game through flag rugby before they get into the full-on contact stuff. So, I don't think that's necessarily something that should shy people off. Like, it's a safe game, as you said earlier.
I believe it's a very safe game, and I do think that people, sometimes there's a misconception. Because I remember when I wrestled growing up, I played football, and when I remember telling my parents in college I'm going to join the rugby team. They're like, "Well, should you be doing that?" Obviously that's just parents. But like, there's a stigma, like you're automatically getting hurt, and it's actually a pretty safe game.
Oh, it is. And like World Rugby are making law changes, every month it seems, around safety. So I know you got to tackle below, I think it's the chest area now. So there's heaps of things at the moment that are being developed to promote the safety of the game. Yeah,
you'll never be a blind receiver ever. You're always running onto the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have a couple fan questions from Kendall Payne Glover. Brilliant. He runs the Faction Cast podcast. He wants to know, any advice for new commentators or kind of what you do?
Yeah, great. I think for me, like, as I'm only 23, like I'm still pretty young in it. I'm more in the stage at the moment of trying to collect advice from the pros, right? But the one piece of advice I definitely give is, if there's a little league baseball game or a little sports league that is crying for some commentators or crying for some broadcasters, like, put your hand up and get involved, and be prepared to do it a while for free, just to build your profile and build your resume. I think, I did like a few years of ground announcing and commentated some cricket games and some rugby games just locally in Dunedin, and just did it to get my name in the hat, and eventually opportunities come. It's different time for everyone, but they'll come, and commentating is very much a thing that it's time in the saddle gets you better, right? So call as many games as possible, even if you're at home on TV. What I did when I was a little bit littler, when the Highlanders were playing Super Rugby, I'd mute the TV and I'd just commentate over the top of it, just because I'm like just a purist and just wanted to try and learn my flow. Like, every commentator's got their own style about how they call the game. Like, you see Dallin Stanford, who's an awesome commentator. The way he calls sevens, he's got a real energetic, lots of awesome one-liners and catchphrases, quite entertaining to listen to. And then there's your English commentators are real strict and to the point, quite technical. So I think that's the main thing. Like, whenever you're in front of the camera or the microphone, like, be yourself. Don't try and be someone that you're not. Be yourself, and people will love your style for what it is. So
absolutely. We go live, so we don't do a lot, but I'm a big softball player. I play like almost every night of the week.
Nice.
And my team didn't make the finals, but we've been going live on Facebook, just calling it.
Yeah, cool.
It's just so much fun.
Oh, it's great. It's awesome. Like, that's why I love it so much. Like, A, you get to watch your sport that you love, and B, you get to talk about it and have a bit of banter. And honestly, it's just such an awesome passion of mine. It's great. I've got a dream to hopefully commentate at a World Cup one day, whether it be the one in America. So, you got to shoot big.
Awesome. And he asked, what's your favorite part of the job?
Good question. I think the cool thing about like commentating is, like, for example, I go back to New Zealand in December, and I start a contract there with New Zealand Cricket where I'll do their ground announcing for their games, and I literally get to travel up and down the country in the span of 2 months. So I think the lifestyle of it's pretty awesome. You get to see some amazing places, you get to meet awesome people, like being back home in New Zealand, there's some beautiful cricket grounds, as you can imagine. So probably that, just literally the travel factor, getting to see some new places and some awesome people, and again, you're getting to watch sport. Like it's a pretty cool job, right?
Can't go wrong.
No, you can't go wrong. So
he wants to know, and I don't know if you want to answer this question because this could cause some issues on the team. Do you have any favorite Free Jacks players?
Nice.
Maybe people you're more friendly with. I don't know.
Yeah. I actually I knew this question might come up. It could ignite some flames for next year for the 2024 season. There's Free Jacks is filled with great guys. I think my group that I work quite closely with, we've got like a group of players that coach, like do community coaching for us throughout the year. Again, like Andrew Quatrins, Ben Lesage, Mitch Wilson. They're just guys that go above and beyond like their duties. Do you know what I mean? Like Andrew Quatrin was out delivering food to veterans. He was doing a clothing drive for homeless people along with Ben Lesage. Like Mitch Wilson will always jump at the opportunity to come to a school. Like I think guys like that are really my favourite because they understand like doing all that stuff is super important for the future of like rugby and not only the Free Jacks organisation, but like rugby in general in America, right? So, like for Quatrin and Lesage to do what they did in the community was such an awesome thing for our Free Jacks brand to be a part of. So, yeah, that gives you a few, but not a specific one.
Yeah, we don't want to start controversy here. Like I say, I'm a big fan of Mitch Wilson. I really am. His style of play.
Yeah, he's
great player.
Great guy. He's so down to earth. Got a lot of time for Mitch. He had just returned from his USA trip to Georgia, Portugal, and Romania. So he's getting ready to fly out again in another week to Utah. They play Stade Toulon, so it's exciting.
His brother played for Utah, right?
Yeah, his brother did. So yeah, I mean Mitch is awesome. He's Australian. He's got the classic Australian accent. He obviously came over here, went to Life University, and mate, like a player that size does not define him, right? Like he puts his body on the line for anything, and it's just it's good for the little men out like me to see that. The little man club.
I never got. I only play on the wing.
No,
the only time I saw
yeah.
Do you have a top 5 favorite movies?
Ooh,
or movies that you like in general?
It's good. I see the light-hearted side of life, so I'm a comedy person, definitely. Happy Gilmore.
Oh, yes.
Like Adam Sandler. To be honest,
Manchester guy, New Hampshire.
Yeah, exactly right. Like Happy Gilmore's number one. Like I've watched that movie hundreds of times. Just I can quote a lot of things from it. It's just brilliant. Another one, probably in turn, Billy Madison, which is another Adam Sandler movie. Yep.
Those are like his 2 big ones that started the career.
Yeah, really. Exactly. Yep. So probably those 2. 3. A lot of people don't like Will Ferrell, but I love him. I think he's hilarious.
Ferrell,
yeah, he's brilliant. The other guys from Will Ferrell, Step Brothers from Will Ferrell. Number 5, probably like down the adventure action line. Like I was an Indiana Jones kid growing up. I like played the Indiana Jones or the Goonies. The Goonies is a great one. But I played all like the Indiana Jones video games and had the Legos and stuff. So I've got a soft spot. I haven't seen the new one yet though, so I need to.
Yeah, I've never been big into Indiana Jones, but I will say Will Ferrell was very popular.
Yeah.
He stayed around a long time, then people started to get frustrated with his movies.
Yes.
Which kind of does happen.
Oh, it does, right? And I feel like that's why Adam Sandler, don't get me wrong, I'm sure Adam Sandler's done a lot of movies, right? But some of his movies probably aren't ranked as highly as his Happy Gilmore's.
We had a big debate on the Let Freedom Ring Facebook page. Sometimes I'll throw out things for people to discuss. And it came down to Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey movies.
Oh,
and
wow.
A lot of people were Jim Carrey.
That's
and,
another. How could I forget Jim Carrey? Like, he's done some amazing movies. The Mask.
Oh, yeah.
Ace Ventura. Like, yeah. Anything comedy that'll give a laugh. That's me.
Yeah, that was a good time for comedy.
Oh, yeah. It's been, we don't really get that these days, eh? Like, some of the movies that are coming out now is just like...
It's not. I get stuck in nostalgia a lot.
Yeah.
It's like we have Scream 7 or...
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly. Yeah. Star Wars 11.
Oh, God. We'll save that for another... Do you have any favorite restaurants that you've liked since being over here?
Oh, that's a dangerous question. Some that have probably really hurt my health. Favorite restaurants? They're fast food or just like...
Just anything, really, I guess.
I do like I like a Five Guys and a Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Like, that's my treat, which I probably have too often.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm like on the road. Or Shake Shack. Like, I love a smash burger. But probably like restaurant, I haven't been to like a 99 or an Applebee's, like a true American restaurant yet. So there's a number of good spots down. There's a spot in Quincy called Fuji on Wok, which is like a Japanese restaurant. And there's also the Fours, which is the unofficial club rooms of the Free Jacks. It's a sports bar in Quincy Centre. Fantastic sandwiches, good beers, good times. So I'll go to the Fours.
Nice. I got to find a place, because I usually just, when I go to games, I usually just get right on the highway. But
nice.
Usually because I stay for the concert. I'm like, all right, now it's time to get home.
No,
But at some point, I got to stop somewhere.
That's great.
I want to get into buy or sell. I'm going to give you a word, anything really. You're going to tell me if you're buying or selling it.
All right.
TikTok. The
Buying
social.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why, I should say.
I don't know. Like, I think there's some fantastic things on TikTok. Like, I probably spend 20 to 30 minutes a day on there just scrolling. But then there's some terrible things on TikTok, but purely for like that little bit of entertainment that I get in my day, I'll buy it. So, don't get me wrong, it's a toxic application. Like, there's things on there that don't need to be on there, but the funny things and the humorous, like the funny fails, like dogs doing cartwheels. I love that shit. So that's great.
So I always say I'm a real millennial, so I watch TikTok on Instagram 2 months later.
Yeah, nice.
Because I get the old video.
That's great. Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Ooh. I'm buying it, but I had to think about it because the donut was heavily talked about before I came to America, and I went to a Dunkin' for the first time on the way to somewhere, and it was like a little pop-up Dunkin' store, and the donut just didn't hit the spot, but it's slowly growing my trust back this year with good iced coffees. And some really nice breakfast sandwiches, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Like the wee avocado, tomato, bacon, Italian sandwich, delicious. So I'll buy it. Because if I say I'm going to sell it, I probably won't be welcome back to Boston.
Yeah, probably. I hate to admit it, but I go to Dunkin' Donuts every morning. I need to start making my own coffee again.
Yeah, that's addicting.
And I've got to stop because I think I'm gaining weight over it. Is I eat like a chocolate chip muffin.
Oh.
Their chocolate chip muffin is my favorite muffin of any muffin.
I haven't had the muffin.
It's really good.
Oh, tomorrow.
It's unbelievable.
You've sorted my breakfast.
Jack's Rangers show.
Oh, buy it. Absolutely. Like, this is the other thing I love about sport, like the way it brings fans around it. And, Phil, Dave, Chris Lind, yourself, the Rangers crew. Hopefully I'm not missing anyone. Like, just awesome. And they post regularly as well, which I love. And just the amount of publicity that they give the Free Jacks and how hot they are on the news, and they're supporting the boys back in New Zealand, the Manawatu Turbos. Like, it's so awesome to see. And I think one thing that stuck out for me this year was Phil and the Rangers did some starter packs for the boys when they came into Boston, some food. I snapped a photo of them in front of all the food. Like, that is, you probably don't get that anywhere else in the MLR, right? Like, that is just such a generous thing from our fans, chucking in that money, which went a huge way for the boys. Like, you think about a guy from New Zealand coming over, he's extremely nervous. Like, to have some food already in his pantry just makes him feel so at home. Bye.
Yeah, and that's all Phil. I mean, honestly, like, so I played rugby with Chris Lind, Bozo, in college. That's how I knew him. And somehow before I started going to games, I saw a video of Phil talking about something. I go, I need to meet that guy. And now I talk to him all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and then I kind of have, you know, involved a little bit.
Oh, he's great. Like we had USA and Canada women's U23s playing in Quincy. He was there. When our Junior Jacks was playing, he was there. You know, he's not just supporting the Free Jacks. You know, he's supporting, you know, the top side rather. He's supporting all of our ventures as well, which is so good. Like, yeah, I'm buying those guys.
Absolutely. Phil's a great guy.
Yeah.
Chris is great. The Daves, there's 2 Daves on there. I'll ask one more, because this, I don't know if they wear these in New Zealand, but Crocs.
Crocs. I'm selling them.
Yeah.
I've never been a Crocs guy. Absolutely not. I'm actually not a big jandals or flip-flops wearer either. So I'm purely like closed-toe shoe. Yeah, I'm selling Crocs. Like, I know probably like 90% of kids in the schools that I've been to this year are like wearing Crocs. They're like doing PE classes in Crocs. Like, I'm like, what durability are you getting out of that shoe on a gymnasium? So, I'm selling the Crocs.
Do they wear those in New? Are people wearing those?
No, they are. They're big, and like people buy these little pins that you can put into the holes on the Croc. They're called like gibbets or something like that. Like, no time for it. I'm sorry to all you Croc enthusiasts, but I'm not on that bandwagon.
I am not either. I was surprised. I think they caught fire like 10 years ago, maybe more.
Well.
And I've never owned one. I never will.
I can understand. Yeah, I can understand how they're good for the beach or the pool, but like, why would you want to own some footwear that has holes in it?
I don't know. I'll never understand.
That's good though.
Yeah, but Tom, I really appreciate coming on the show today. It's been a blast.
Yeah.
Everybody out there, have a wonderful week. Keep your heads up. Happy Labor Day. Until next time, let freedom reign.